is subjected to various degrees of uncertainty. Stakeholders can no longer plan with the budget, fiscal and monetary policies as a guide. Things remain in a state of flux until the middle of the year. Budget reporting no longer makes sense. For instance, as at the time the first quarter budget implementation report of 2017 and 2018 were due, 1 month after the end of each quarter, there was no 2017 or no 2018 budget in existence. The law says that you do a budget implementation report 1 month after the end of the quarter. So by April, the 2018 first quarterly budget implementation report was due, but there was no 2018 budget, ditto for 2017. And the 2018 budget second quarter should be due by July. But nothing has been released for capital implementation, particularly those salaries are being paid. So can you report on an existing budget? So what they will be reporting as 2018 first and second quarter budget implementation report has nothing to do with the 2018 budget. It is about the implementation of the old budget. So we are having distortions, uncertainties, legal and factual impossibilities being built into the narrative of our budgeting cycle. That means we are deceiving ourselves. And there's no nation that progresses with deceit and uncertainty, because the budget is supposed to perform a number of functions, including being a guide for stakeholders in the economy, both in the public sector and in the private sector, to give them a clue as to the direction where the economy and the government is heading. But if you are bringing it in the middle of the year, at a time, it does not rhyme with the financial calendar. Both the banks and the people, all the companies listed on our stock exchange, most of them have this January to December budget year. So by the new year, they have done their budget and they expect to see what government is planning so that they can align. But government will not bring this budget until it is very late. So even if the budgets were signed into law in June, like we have now, releases and disbursements for the capital goods have not started. We were told by the president that he is yet to send the borrowing plan, which will be used to fund the capital budget. And the borrowing plan we are discussing is to fund the 2018. He is here to send it as we speak today. So assuming he sends it today, and the National Assembly approves it maybe before they go on recess and gives it to him in August, it's not like that money is somewhere waiting. You will not go looking for the money. By the time you will look for the money and get people who will fund you at the percentage you want interest, before you do the drawdown, we are in less September or so. And we are discussing 2018 budget. And of course, you know very well that by October, November, in fact, from now, governance is taking a backseat and politics is trumping governance. So when are you going to implement the budget? I'm using this year as an instance. Now, if you look at the provisions that the National Assembly have made, it seems to suggest to us that NAS misunderstood its powers under Section 318 of the Constitution. The powers were not conferred on the National Assembly for the purpose of creating confusion and arbitrariness in the financial year. The financial year needs to be certain so that stakeholders can plan and follow through on their plans. Uncertainty is the bedrock and foundation for underdevelopment. So NAS, no doubt, can amend any law or the Constitution, but until that amendment is done, the undulating financial year, which changes from year to year, has done so much havoc to the Nigerian people and the economy. So the power is not to change the financial year from 2016. Then 2017, another one. 2018, another one. That's not the power granted by the Constitution. The Constitution granted the power to amend the law, just like they can amend anything. Once you amend it, from then going forward, this is the new law until you amend it again. It doesn't suggest that every year should be an opportunity to redefine the Nigerian financial year. There are 6 over here, 29 who are standing. So the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 also provides for the medium-term expenditure framework as the basis for the preparation of annual estimates and the budget, and is expected to be ready before the end of the second quarter, which is in June. It is to be endorsed by the Executive Council of the Federation before being sent to the National Assembly for their approval. We are taking time to show all this, that the intention of the people of Nigeria through their constitution and their laws is for early budget presentation and approval. But this calendar has never been respected by the budget authorities. So this is the background to the subject matter of today and the mischief in the existing law, for which a remedy has been proposed by the National Assembly. Law jurisprudentially is seen as an instrument of social engineering. It's seen as the moral compass of society, the historicity of the people, because law is like the soul and spirit of the people. And the society withers as the law withers. Where there is no rule of law, where there is no certainty to the law, you go down the path of underdevelopment, you go down the path of dictatorship, and we are afraid things are happening the way it is happening today because we are not going through the rule of law, and Nigerians are no longer responding adequately to shocks in the environment when things that are not supposed to happen begin to happen. So the National Assembly, in its wisdom, as part of the constitution alteration process, decided to amend sections 81 and 121 of the Constitution, learning from experience to ensure appropriate time frames that accord with the Nigerian Financial Year Act. It therefore stated from the beginning of the budgeting process, the public beginning of the budgeting process, which is the presentation of the budget by the President to NAS and the Governor to State Houses of Assembly. President, Section 81, Governors to State Houses of Assembly, Section 121. The amendment, which is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, fourth alteration, number 28 Bill 2017, proposes that instead of the old order, where the President and Governors present the budget estimates at any time in each financial year. I took this from the Constitution. At any time in each financial year, they will now be bound to present them not later than 90 days to the end of the financial year. That's what the amendment proposes. The essence of the amendment is to give the legislature adequate time to examine, vet, and approve the budget before the end of the presentation year and the beginning of the new year. So budgets must get to the National Assembly 90 days before the end of the year. For instance, 2019 budget should ideally be presented to the National Assembly around the beginning of September or middle of September, so that they have a clear 90 days, they will not have an excuse. And the amendment also proposes a new subsection 1A to the two sections, that's section 81 and 121, by giving a time frame to NAS and State Houses of Assembly to pass the budget for the incoming year before the end of the financial year in which the budget estimates is presented. Specifically, it says they should approve of the budget before the commencement of the next financial year. So it gives a timeline for the executive and also gives a timeline for the legislature. Essentially, budgets will no longer be presented late or approved late like happened in the last 3 years. The budget will now be ready on or before January 1 in each succeeding year. The amendment has secured the approval of both Houses of Assembly in the National Assembly, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and that of the required majority of State Houses of Assembly in accordance with Section 9 of the Constitution. But the President has failed, refused, and neglected to give assent to SEM. This bill was sent to him at the same time the not too young to run bill was sent to him for approval for assent. It has been more than 30 days since the bill was forwarded to Mr. President for his assent, and there is no information in the public domain of his reasons for refusing assent to the bill. Ideally, this information would have come by way of a letter to the National Assembly to say, I am not assenting to this bill, these are my reasons. But up to today is over 2 months, nothing has happened. We cannot be working at this pace. Even if we were to assent to it later, he reserves no right to hold the whole Nigeria to ransom because of a slow pace of work. He elected the President to work full time. The refusal of assent is surprising, considering that Mr. President had in many speeches, including the one he did during the 2018 budget signing speech, indicated his intention to return the financial year to the January to December timeline. And he even blamed the National Assembly for delayed approval of the budget. He did, if you remember the speech he did, he said he submitted early to restore the financial year, National Assembly sat on it. So evidently, this bill should have been celebrated, a celebrated quick win for the administration, a low-hanging fruit that would have been used to shore up the public finance management credibility of this administration. But behold, rather, we have a situation where the administration is snatching the feet from the jaws of victory that was handed over to it on a platter of gold. If the National Assembly had given the executive a timeline without prescribing one for itself, the President may have had a defense for his refusal to assent. it could have been argued that both the executive and legislature need to regulate themselves by submitting to a constitutional timeline, and it will be considered improper for legislators to exempt themselves from the timeline. In this case, no reasonable person can fathom a reason that makes sense in the company of reasonable Nigerians. So, what is the way forward? Should the legislature fold its hands and want the progress of Nigeria go to the door simply because Mr. President is refusing to do his job? Is it that high-level public officials who manage the budgeting process have not given the President a proper advice to guide his decision on that set? What exactly is wrong? Because the refusal makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense at all. Section 58, 4 and 5 of the Constitution comes in handy. It provides as follows. Where a bill is presented to the President for assent, he shall, within 30 days thereof, signify that he assents or that he withholds assent. That's subsection 4. Subsection 5 says, where Mr. President withholds his assent, and the bill is again passed by each house of the National Assembly by 2/3 majority, the bill shall become law, and the assent of the President shall no longer be required. The Constitution is clear and requires no further elaboration. It is therefore up to the National Assembly to patriotically exercise its powers, to make laws for the peace, order and good government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and to override the presidential veto without any further delay. Any other course of action will be a great disservice to the long-suffering masses of the Nigerian people. Nigerians do not expect the executive legislative rift to get in the way of such clear-headed amendments. There must be irreducible minimum levels of cooperation between the two arms of government, no matter the situation. Otherwise, the government will need to throw in the towel and call for fresh elections under the doctrine of necessity. You cannot sit on a chair you are not ready to perform the duties. Nigerians have had enough. We must move forward. The refusal raises a fundamental poser, and this poser dogged the 2014 Constitutional Amendment process. If you recall, the National Assembly in 2014 decided to strip the President of the powers to grant assent to amendments of the Constitution. The line of reasoning goes this way. The National Assembly requires 2/3 majority of both the Senate and the House for constitutional amendment, ordinary sections. Fundamental Rights Chapter, you need 80%, 4/5 to amend. After you finish this, you now go back to all the state houses of assembly, and you need the consent and endorsement of 24, minimum of 24 state houses of assembly, and then you return back and hand it over to one man. Yes, he's the president and commander-in-chief, and he begins to throw spanner into it. Some of us believe, rightly or wrongly, that any piece of legislation that has gotten to third requirement in Senate and House of Representatives goes back and gets the concurrence of 24 state houses of assembly should no longer be subjected to the whims and caprices of one man, no matter how highly placed. This is part of the constitutional relic which more or less promotes civilian dictatorship, and this should not continue. If you recall, all the amendments to the Constitution in 2015 were killed because they were packed in one bill, and President Jonathan refused to assent since that was a section. And that is why this time around, the legislators unpacked all the bills. Every section they wanted to amend was now a bill on its own, so that if the president liked whichever one he liked, he signs it directly. He wouldn't just refuse assent to the whole package at once. But some of us believe that this should be considered, so that we don't have scenarios like this going on and on. Now, in conclusion, time is of essence in virtually every human endeavor activity. Good timing produces optimal results for activities. Generally, human nature is about seasons and cycles. One budget season closes at the right time, and another starts. The National Assembly should do the needful without further delay. And that needful, for the avoidance of doubt, is that the Citizens' World Platform is calling on the National Assembly to override the presidential veto and breathe life into this Constitution Amendment Bill so that we can have a time frame for both presentation and approval of the budget before the beginning of the financial year in which the budget is to take effect. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a briefing. Thank you for listening. Questions and comments will be welcome.